Jordan Poole's one of the most exciting prospects in the NBA thanks to his Steph Curry-like playstyle, though he's only in his 4th season right now, so he still has a lot to learn. After an amazing 2022 campaign, JP3 was struggling to start off the 2023 season. Thankfully, he's now gotten back on track, and if you want to know how he did it, then this video's for you. First up, having Steph Curry as your teammate has its perks. Ever since last season, Poole's been one of the most important players on the Warriors squad, so his offensive struggles were a big reason why the team couldn't get going to start their 2023 campaign. But after some disappointing first few games, Jordan's been putting on some terrific performances almost every night. What's the major reason for this turnaround? Well, the answer is Steph Curry. Recently, Poole appeared on Keith Burgess' show, Dubs Talk, and said that he's constantly asking Steph questions and learning from him. As JP said, luckily he's in a position where Curry's basically taken him under his wing since he's the rook and the young guy of the team. Jordan then added that following in the 2-time MVP's footsteps is dope because you can tell that he wants to finally give some of these things away, and it's clear that he thinks Poole is a worthy successor. What's more, Poole then told Keith that during one stretch of the 2023 season, he just wasn't able to make threes at high volume as he was last year, so he turned to Steph to ask him more questions. According to JP3, he asked Curry about what he did in such situations, and the two had what Poole called a good conversation followed by a productive practice session where the two were able to work things out. Up next, how good has Poole been after the conversation with Steph? While Jordan didn't disclose what exactly Curry told him, it seems as if it was some pretty amazing advice as Poole went off on the Bulls right after the conversation. He scored 30 points off the bench in just 23 minutes, and his efficiency was spectacular as he shot 61% from the field and 53.8% from beyond the arc. Jordan had a game-high 7 3-pointers, and he looked like the best player on the court. In fact, his contributions were a massive reason why Golden State even won against the Bulls, although he didn't stop there as he had another impressive outing the next day against the Rockets. JP scored 21 points, 5 assists, and 1 steal in just 23 minutes of play, while going 8-14 from the field and 5 of 8 from downtown. Jordan had another impressive outing against the Pacers on the 5th of December when he put up yet another 20-point performance. He posted 23, 5, and 4 on the 47.7% from the field, and even outscored his mentor for the second time in 3 games. And of course, we can't forget about his performance against the Jazz when Curry, Green, and Wiggins were all sitting out. He single-handedly kept the Dubs in the game all throughout thanks to his 36-point, 8-assist effort. He shot 43.5% from the field, connected on 4 treys, and went 12 for 13 from the charity stripe. In December, Poole's currently averaging 24.7 points and 4.2 assists with some terrific shooting splits, and we're sure he's only going to keep getting better. Following that, let's look at some plays where he channeled his inner Steph Curry. If you're Steph's protege, then you've got to be able to make some insane deep 3-pointers, and thankfully for Poole, he's been doing a pretty good job of that so far. JP's been making half-court buzzer beaters like Curry since as early as the 2021 season. He first came against the Jazz in the 10th of May 2021 when the Warriors were up 11 against Utah. Poole got the ball with a little over 2 seconds remaining in the third and banked in the shot from beyond half court. His second came in November 2021 when the Dubs were facing off against the 76ers. Again, he was beyond midcourt, but he only had 1.4 seconds to get the shot off, but he was unfazed as he swished the half-court buzzer beater to end the second quarter. While those were great, he outdid himself in Game 2 of the 2022 Finals as he literally looked like he was possessed by Steph. First, with a little over 30 seconds remaining in the third, he brought the ball up to the right wing, did a double between the legs move, followed by a Hesse, and then launched a deep 3 which hit nothing but net. Then on the very next Warriors possession, he hit the half-court buzzer-beating 3 to give the Warriors a 23-point lead. Game 2 really was a Poole party. Moving on, what does JP need to improve upon to become the next Curry? Poole's been great ever since 2021, and he's shown glimpses of how sky-high his potential is, but there's still a lot he needs to work on. One thing that almost anyone would be able to notice after watching him play is how out of control he can be at times. Don't get us wrong, his handles are pretty good, but he has a tendency to just look like he's on the verge of turning the ball over with his careless dribble moves. Plus, while he might get the job done, his handles don't look nearly as swift as Steph's. What's more, he's been called for an insane amount of travels and carries this season, which is just another example of how he needs to work on his handles even more. In fact, when Golden State faced off against the Heat on the 1st of November, he got called for 3 carrying violations, which isn't good at all. He's only 23 right now, and all he needs to do is keep working hard in practice, which he already does. So as long as Poole keeps that up, we're sure his handles will be as insane as Curry's one day. Another glaring issue for JP is that high amount of turnovers he commits, as he averaged 2.5 last season, and he's currently averaging 3 per game this season. To make matters worse, he doesn't average a lot of assists either, giving him a terrible assist to turnover ratio. Now let's look how integral JP is to the future of the Warriors. Starting off, is Poole the next face of the franchise? Steph, Clay, and Draymond aren't getting any younger, and they'll probably be on their way out of the league once Poole's in the middle of his prime. The Golden State front office clearly believes in Jordan and thinks he can be the next Curry, as they just gave him a 4-year, $140 million extension 2 months ago. And we're sure they'll extend that as well once the time comes, because after around 5 years, it'll be time to hand him the keys to the franchise. Even though he has a lot of basketball ahead of him, we've seen that he has the ability to carry the Warriors without their 2 best players in Steph and Clay. The best example of this was how the month of March 2022 went for the young point guard. Thompson and Steph both missed some games due to injury, and JP3 stepped up big time as he averaged 25.4 points, 3.9 rebounds, and 4.9 in 16 games during that month. Oh, and he connected on 49.5% of his field goals and 44.4% of his shots from deep, while shooting 89% from the free throw line. He was putting up Curry numbers like it was nothing and was by far the best player on the Warriors for the entire month. He even led the NBA in threes in March as he sank 67 of them. Coming up, how important has his past been in getting him to this point? JP's been a confident dude ever since he was a kid, and he's just one of those people who's always had that dog in him. As early as his high school days, he had the utmost faith in himself, and it almost always worked out well for him. His high school coach, Jim Goss, said that while Poole wasn't the best guy on his team back then, he's always been a good shooter, and that's why he entrusted JP with one of the biggest shots of his life up until that point. In the sectional title match, Poole's team was down by 3 with 7 seconds remaining, and according to Jim, Jordan was looking at him with sad dog eyes, asking to be put in the game. Goetz did just that, and JP drilled the clutch 3 to send the game to overtime. Once he arrived at Michigan, he was 8 inches taller and a consensus top 100 prospect, but he rarely got playing time as his senior, Muhammad Ali Abdur-Rahman, was running the offense in 2018. But he took this as an opportunity to learn from him. Plus, in the scrimmages, he would be going off on everyone and making them scratch their heads. Then came his claim to fame during March Madness in 2018. With the Michigan Wolverines down by 2, Abdur-Rahman passed the ball to Poole, who had a little over 1 second to take the shot. And sure enough, Jordan cashed in on the tightly contested deep 3. And it was an I'm him moment for Poole. Finally, let's talk about how hard he worked following his rookie season. It wasn't easy for the 23-year-old to get consistent minutes on the star-studded Warriors team, but that didn't matter to him as he was always determined to work for the extra opportunities. According to JP, when the pandemic brought the NBA season to a standstill, he got a chance to work hard on his craft. He said that while many people he knew went back home and tried to take some time away from basketball, he was practically living in the Warriors practice facility. This level of dedication and hunger that he's displayed ever since his high school days is a massive reason why he's now one of the most promising point guards in the league. His hard work has paid off so far, and we can't wait to see him being handed the keys to the franchise. That's a wrap for this video. What do you guys think Steph said to Poole during their conversation? Let us know in the comments below. As always, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.